It is not possible for me to fathom what level of impact Kal Bhairav and the presence of Bhairav energies in my life have brought. But since some bhakti has developed towards this deity, specifically Kal Bhairav, I also realized that a few specific qualities came down in my life which seems to be from him, because in general context those qualities are being associated to him also, and those qualities did manifest in my life quite strongly actually. So in this video I just want to share 3 beautiful benefits that I seem to have gotten from Kal Bhairav and Bhairav energy. As a precursor to this video, you probably should watch my previous video which talks about 10 years of Bhairav energies and fascination with Kal Bhairava that has happened, and how it was very recently when I visited the Bhaktapur temple in the Bhairav temple in Bhaktapur that all of a sudden I kind of realized this continuous presence that has been there across all of these years, which I never put together so far. I just kept thinking they were separate incidents and not connected, but all of a sudden I felt they were connected. And after recording this video, I also realized that what are then the implications of having these energies and having these interactions with Kal Bhairav forms all over the place and visiting all of these powerful Kal Bhairav kshetras. So there were 3 very clear things that were coming to me. One was the fast tracking of spiritual progress. Like the year when I listened to Kala Bhairava Ashtakam in loop 24 hours 7 for maybe a few weeks or months, I don't even know how much time. That was the time where all of a sudden my resolve to focus on spiritual journey and spiritual growth as a priority in my life over marriage and all of those other things became solidified, and I took a clear decision towards the same in that year itself. I did not realize it happened in that year. Probably what happened is because for quite a long time I was in that dilemma phase, one foot here, one foot here, but I think the presence of Kal Bhairava all of a sudden brought the fast tracking. And the process of creating this video helped me also realize this fact that, the timeline of all the various things that happened in my life. Otherwise, I had not put together how these things have happened, and it makes sense that if I did some Kal Bhairav bhakti and all of a sudden if my spiritual resolve becomes very strong, there is a correlation, one could correlate it. The other thing that happened to me in those years is that I started giving the truth of life in general, a very high status in my life. At some point this feeling developed in me that if it is the truth, I can accept it, and it will be great for me to accept it if it is the truth. Because we spend a large amount of our life just running away from things that scare us. We don't want to face the truth, so we are always living in ignorance. But all of a sudden that quality came into me that no, if it's the truth, I must face it. And very proactively I started going and facing certain truths. The other fallout of this was, if there is a situation and I'm feeling a little queasy, all of a sudden I identify that what is making me feel queasy, what is scaring me in this situation, and I will own up to that fear and say, okay, does this aspect of this situation scare me? So let us assume that aspect is true, that yes, this horrible thing will happen, then what? So that form of almost facing the fear of accepting truths, which are kind of the same coin, because when you don't want to accept the truth of a particular situation, it is because something is scaring you in it. The two things go hand in hand. So if you were to just proactively head into the truth and say, no, I want to know the truth, whatever it is, it means it will also breed a form of fearlessness. And that definitely happened as a third point, which is fearlessness, because I started solo traveling and I kept solo traveling, and at some point it became very, very fearless, because some of the adventures I've had, and I don't even put it out a lot of times, but because the solo travels kept getting more and more intense, and for many years it was okay, it was actually very interesting. But after a point, today it's like in a phase where it just gets too intense even for me actually, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And definitely there is a fearless factor, and people can see it in my life because I'm doing such things. So definitely these three things came and have manifested in my life, and I think in a general context, Kal Bhairava is associated with these things, the acceptance of truth, holding up the truth in life, and fearlessness definitely, fast forwarding of spiritual progress, definitely all these three aspects are prominent for Kal Bhairava, and it did manifest in my life. And it's a intense journey. One thing I want to share here is also that when I visited the Nakoda Kal Bhairav, one of the things that happened to me after visiting the Nakoda Kal Bhairav is that I started getting these bursts of righteous anger. But compared to the three qualities I mentioned, which were very core internal qualities, this righteous anger was I felt a little low energy, because I started almost cropping fights with local people and saying, getting that righteous anger, why would you do such a thing, you should not do such a thing. And I just felt I could be beyond it. That's what I felt. But Rajarshi Nandi does talk that bhakti of Kal Bhairav does lead to these kind of flashes of anger, which is not the lower anger, which is more the anger that comes out from our own greed, our own this. It's not that kind of anger, it is more the righteous anger, which is like when you see someone doing something wrong or see something negative in someone, you kind of just flare out and it's a quick burst. It's not like you're harboring anything against that person or having anything inside, just a quick burst. But I still, compared to the other three qualities that I mentioned earlier, I still found it to be a lower form, and I did see this as something I need to go over, because it just causes trouble also in society. And in general, I do not want to be the person who just goes around angrily like that. I would want to, towards my fellow human beings, I would want to exude a feeling of kindness, love and compassion. And I think this particular aspect is very important, that at the end of the day, we are not subservient to the deity energy forms, but we are there who are saying this is how the human must be. So our own volition as the human being is a great mover, and that is how a lot of times the human is being considered greater than the divine deity, because the human in the form of a guru who shows the path to the deity is considered greater. The Tirthankar in Jainism is considered greater. The human is also considered greater because the human is able to create the deity. So in these ways, there are contexts in which the human has to be greater than the deity, because I think that is the nature of things. Since you watched so far, just letting you know that I have some premium content for members of this channel only. It is stuff that is too sensitive or specific and I am not comfortable sharing in public. So if you are interested, do check out the membership tabs for all the exclusive content that I have out there.